This is the review for what you should have learned in Tech Math 1A, and since it might have been a while, why don't we just go through it. Remember that each one of your tests you're going to be asked questions similar to these that are review from Tech Math 1A, so it's probably a good idea for you to know how to do them. The first question is, it says convert 65 miles per hour to feet per second. The way you do that is you write on the left side of your paper your beginning point, which is miles, and then hours is the denominator. And on the right side of your paper, you write the unit that you want to end up with is feet, and then seconds as the bottom denominator. Okay, first, let's convert the distance. So in our fraction, we put 1 mile in the denominator, and that's so that we can cancel those two units. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Then let's convert the hours into seconds. 1 hour is 60 minutes, and 1 minute is 60 seconds. So when we get done with all of our units, we have feet left on the top, and we have seconds left in the denominator. And so if we get out our calculator and calculate these things, oops, did I lose it? Yep. Get out our calculator and calculate these things. We can figure out our answers. So our first, we're going to multiply at the beginning 65 times 5,280 because it's in the numerator times, notice the 60 is in the denominator, so we could do times 1/60th. Instead though, let's divide by 60, and then let's divide by 60 again because that's also 60 seconds on the bottom, and we get 286 over 3, which as a decimal is 95.3. So it's 95.3, and the 3 repeats. Well, since we started with 3 sig figs, we want to end with 3 sig figs, and so our answer is 95.3. Next one. Perform the indicated operations of approximate numbers and round the correct number of sig figs. So let's get out our calculator and I'm going to use the fraction button on my calculator. 23.92. Since there's parentheses there, that means multiply, so times 0.0. I could have put in the first 0, but I don't like putting in leading zeros. 1,537 over. Now, if you do not have a calculator that has a true fraction key like this, you're going to have to use parentheses in the denominator. So after you press divide, you're going to have parentheses 10.65 minus. But since we've got a true fraction calculator, we can just press 10.965 subtract 8.249. And when we press equals, it gives us a decimal. Now, in our decimal, we can't have more sig figs than we've got in our question. So we've got 4 here, we've got 4 here, we've got 5 here, and we've got 4 here. I believe our answer is going to have 4 sig figs. So if you look here, this 4th decimal place is a 3, so we have to go to the place after it. Since that's a 6, we're going to change the 3 to a 4. So our answer will be 0.1354. Next one. Solve the following equation for y. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is remove the parentheses. So 48 plus 6y minus 10 equals 22 minus 2 times 10 is 20y minus 2 times 18 is 36. So next step down, combine these two like terms, combine these two like terms, and we get 6y plus 38 equals negative 20y, then combine those two like terms, minus 14. Let's move this to the other side. So we're going to add 20 to both sides, and we get 26y. So we add 20, oops, I'm going to write that in blue. Add 20 to both sides, and subtract 38 from both sides, and we get 26y equals negative 52. So y, divide both sides by 26, is negative 2. I'm going to do that on my calculator just to check my work. 48 plus parentheses 6, and I'm going to use x rather than y. I like using x because then I don't have to define my variable. 6 times x minus 10, close parentheses, alpha equals, remember to use the alpha equals key, 22 minus 2 parentheses 10 alpha x plus 18 close parentheses. And now since we're solving the equation, we're going to press shift solve. Solve that for x. Yes, that's what we want to do. This was the last time that I solved for x. And I get negative 2. So that's my check worked. Next one. Solve the following equation for x. Let's look at that one. So to do this, we're going to multiply by the least common denominator, which will be 3672. So times 72, that means the first part we're going to multiply by 9. The second part we're going to multiply by 4. And the third part we're going to multiply by 72. That'll take care of these denominators, and so we get 9x minus 9 minus 4x plus 4 equals 72. So when I multiply by 72, so I take 72 divided by 8 is 9, 72 divided by 18 is 4, and 72 divided by 1 is 72. So combine like terms, the x's combine, and the numbers combine, and then we're going to put them over on the other side. So we get 9x minus 4x is 5x. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. On this side, oops, let's go back here. I missed a sign. This should be minus. Negative 9 minus 4 is negative 13. So negative 13 on that side is positive 13 on the other side. So 5x is 85. X is, what is that, 17? Yeah, I almost made a mistake there because you notice that negative sign changes that to a negative 4. Let's do it on our calculator just to check to make sure we got it right. So we've got fraction x minus 1 over 8 minus fraction x plus 1 over 18. Remember, you have to press alpha equals 1 and then shift solve. Remember, last time it was -2. This time it is 17. I think that's what we wrote down, wasn't it? Yep, x is 17. Next one. Solve the following formula for t. Okay, so we want the t all alone. First off, take care of the subtraction. So we're going to subtract p from both sides, and we get m minus p equals PRT. Since we want the t all alone, divide both sides by p and r. P and r, and we get t equals m minus p over PR. Okay, I'm not even sure if we can do that one on our calculator. First of all, we're going to have to use some other letters than R, aren't we? Let's use x for t. So m, let's see, shift alpha m. I do have an m here someplace. Alpha equals p. I don't have a p, so let's use b. So equals alpha b. Yeah, it's gonna ask me what those letters are. I'm not gonna do that because it's not gonna work. Next one. Solve the following system of equations. I think in this case the easiest way to solve this system is to substitute. Since we know what x is, let's just write that into the second equation. And so we have 5 times 11 minus 4y minus 2y, because that's right there, minus 2y equals 11. Let's remove the parentheses. 55 minus 20y minus 2y, so that's going to combine, is 11. Let's subtract 55 from both sides, and we get these two combined to negative 22y equals, that's supposed to be a 5 there, is negative 44. So y is 2. So since y is 2, 11 minus 4 times 2, 4 times 2 is 8, 11 minus 8 is 3, so x is 3. So we get 3, 2. We could also solve this as a system by saying this first equation is equivalent to x plus 4y equals 11, and then we can use the system, we can use the, come on now. Okay, we can use the mode, let's see here, equations, number 5, system of equations, number 1, and our first equation is 1, 4, 11, and then 5, negative 2, 11, and we get x is 3 and y is 2, which is what we got doing it the other way. Next one. Oh, I should have told you all along. This number 1 comes from section 1.8. Number 2 comes from section 1.6. Number 3 comes from section 3. 1, as does 4 and 5. Question 6 comes from 9-1. Let's go over to question 7. Question 7 comes from 12-1 on page 364. Solve this quadratic equation by factoring 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. So since you've got a beginning coefficient, multiply those two together and you get negative 24. So we want to split up negative 24 into numbers that are 5 apart, which would be 8 and 3. So 2x squared minus 8x, that's the first part, plus 3x minus 12. So that's where we split the 5x into 2 parts. Now we've got 2 sections to do that we can take out a 2x out of the first ones, and we're left with x minus 4, and a 3 out of the second ones, and we're left with x minus 4. And so these two combine to be 2x plus 3, and then they're multiplied by x minus 4 equals 0. Now we're supposed to solve that. So this is 0. 2x plus 3 is 0. Subtract 3 from both sides, you get 2x is negative 3. So x is negative 3 halves. X minus 4 is 0, means x is 4. Now we can also do this problem on our calculator. Let's see here. We have to get mode equations, and it's a quadratic, which is number 3. So we have 2, negative 5, and negative 12. Oops. Negative 12. And we get 4 and negative 3 halves. Next one. This one comes from section 12.2 on page 3. Solve using the quadratic formula. So x equals negative b, so negative negative 5, plus or minus square root negative 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 3 over 2 times 2. So we have x equals 5 plus or minus square root 25 minus negative is plus. 4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24 over 2 times 2 is 4. 25 and 24 is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. So we have 5 plus 7 over 4, which is 12 over 4, which is 3. 5 minus 7 is negative 2 over 4, which is negative 1 half. Let's use our calculator to solve that one. 2, negative 5, negative 3. Make sure you're in quadratic formula still. And we get x is 3 and negative 1 half. It also tells us the minimum value and the y minimum value. Next one. The admission charge for a theme park is $48 for adults, $30 for children. If the total admission on a certain day was $81,480 and 2,002 people entered, how many were adults and how many were children? So let's go by the number problem and the dollar problem. Okay, here is the number problem right here. Adults plus children is 2,002. Okay, And let's go by the dollar problem. $48 for adults plus $30 for children adds up to $81,480. If we multiply the top equation by 30, we get 30A plus 30B, C is 60,060. 60,060. So we add those two equations together here. I'm going to just rewrite this equation underneath it. 48A plus 30C is 81,480. And then subtract this first one from it. We get 48 minus 30 is 18. 30 minus 30 is nothing. And 60,060 away from 81,480 is 0, 2, 4 minus nothing is 4, 1 minus nothing is 1, 8 minus 6 is 20, so 21,420. Let's divide that by 18. I have to get my calculator back to, I have to get my calculator back to computation. It was 21,420 divided by 18 is 1,190 adults. So if we take 1,190 away from 2,002, we get the children is 2, 1, let's see, 9 minus 1 is 8, 812. Okay, let's do it on our calculator. So we go mode, equations, and this is two equations and two unknowns again. Our first equation is 1, 2002, 48, 30, and 81,480. And we get 1,190 adults and 812 children. Next one. Antifreeze. So this is the amount, this is the concentration and the total. Remember, you multiply to get the total. And then we're going to add going down so that we end up with 14.5 quarts. And we want it to be 50%. So 14.5 times 50 times 0.50, excuse me, is 7.25. Okay, we are going to take a certain amount, let's call it low concentration, because that concentration is 0.25, so we get 0.25 L when we multiply that. High concentration is actually 100%, so we get 1.00 H. Okay, so our two equations are here and here. Oops. Come on now. Low concentration plus high concentration adds up to 14.5. 0.25 low plus 1.00 high, which is just high, is 7.25. Let's solve this by subtracting the second equation from the first one. Okay, so low minus 0.25 low is 0.75 low. High minus high, that just crosses off. 14.25 minus 7.25 is 7.25. Divide both sides by 0.75, and we get 7.25 divided by 0.75 is 9.9 2/3. So our low is 9 2/3. Our high is 14.5. So if we take 14.5 and subtract 9 2/3, we get 4 5/6. So the high is 4 5/6. So how much must be drained? Well, as much as we're going to add. So we're going to drain the 4 5/6 and then add 4 5/6. Let's do it on our calculator just to check our work. Go to our formula here, low plus high. So we have to get to equation 5, and it's 2 equations and 2 unknowns. So we have 1 low, and then 1 high adds up to 14.5, and we have 0.25 low, plus high, which is 1 high, and we get 7.25, and the high is 9 2/3, and the low is 4 5/6. 4 5/6. All right. I think, is that the last one? You've got some work cut out for you to finish these. Get her done.